Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you, Shimon, for organizing this Congress on the occasion of World Cancer Day. I am very grateful and also proud to be part of this event. Many international experts who have been working for years on the issue of increased occupational cancer risk in firefighters and advocating for legal recognition are here today. I have the privilege to report on the current research and state of the science on the exposure and health of firefighters in Germany. In addition, I would like to provide an insight into the measures and concepts our fire brigades have taken so far, mostly on their own initiative to prevent and reduce the risk. But let me introduce myself. My name is Markus Bethke. I've been a volunteer firefighter since 1980, professional firefighter since 1991 in Hamburg. Right now, I am working in the security management as an advisor in the field of operational hygiene. At the same time, I am the founder and CEO of Feuerwehreinsatzkräften. In order to get an overview of the structure of the German fire service in terms of the number of stations and members, I have compiled a few figures here. Unfortunately, these are not entirely up to date, as you can see. Starting with the number of the stations, we have about 41,000 facilities with about 1.35 million firefighters all over Germany. Among them, fortunately, almost 10% are women, and the trend is rising. This is how many missions were handled by our brothers and sisters in 2018. Many of them are fire calls, 249 to be exact. According to the Federal Statistical Office, there were 355 victims among the population. No mention of firefighters who died in the line of duty or from occupational cancer. This is one of the reasons why I founded the organization Feuerwehrkrebs already in 2016. It all started with the third global seminar on occupational cancer among firefighters in Bergen, where I not only found fellow campaigners for our cause, but also real friends. They always provide and support me and us with the latest information and international findings. At that time, we wrote to our Chancellor Angela Merkel and asked her to deal with the elementary important issue of her firefighters. What followed were several exhibitions and discussions at the Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs and at the headquarters of the German Social Accident Insurance, which is responsible for firefighters as the carrier of the firefighters' accident insurance funds. In the end, it was clear we need our own independent organization to promote the issue, and so I founded Feuerwehrkrebs. But what do we do in detail? We want to promote and improve working and health conditions by informing and educating the fire brigades, but also the producers and dealers of firefighting equipment and protective clothing. And we want to facilitate the exchange of information among those affected and engage in networking. Ultimately, we want to support those affected financially, psychologically, and legally in the enforcement of pensions. Now for the development to improve occupational health and safety in the fire service. After the German social accident insurance had also been convinced of the importance of the topic for firefighters, the working group Cancer Risk in Fire Services was set up. A research project was initiated on the question how many hazardous substances are absorbed through the skin. The two largest German fire services of Berlin and Hamburg were involved in determining the data. And now the project. The urine samples were taken in 7 different operational scenarios, like fire in a flat, blaze with massive smoke, fire in underground facilities, vegetation fires, and others, until to service areas and respiratory protection workshops, and analyzed for PAHs. Scientific results of the study from the author's point of view. Absorption of hazardous substances via the skin during firefighting. The first results from the study show a small increase in internal exposure after use. It can be seen that correctly put on protective clothing and the appropriate wearing of self-contained breathing apparatus leads to lower exposures. In addition to the inhalation uptake of hazardous substances, it is already clear that dermal uptake is actually significant. Detectable exposure to fire smoke underneath the PPE worn could already be proven during some operations. A final assessment is only possible after the main study has been completed. It is planned to also examine other hazardous substances in the existing samples in order to enable a more comprehensive hazard and risk assessment on the basis of these data. Do we still need more studies? Firefighters should be able to protect themselves or behave in a way that includes harmful exposure. Skin contact during operations can be a source of exposure to carcinogenic hazardous substances. This project helps to identify possible hazards so that prevention in fire operations can be improved and optimized. The whole of Germany has been waiting for the results of this study. However, it has already been officially confirmed by the German Social Accident Insurance that fire smoke is carcinogenic. That's news. Fire smoke components are also absorbed into the body through the open pores of the skin. Very interesting. And documentation of exposure is also necessary for members of all fire services by law. So, let us now come to the conclusion of Feuerkrebs. As firefighters, we are the modern chimney boys Percival Pott described in 1775. Through globalization with its import and export trade, we are not only able to export goods but also to import them. In the process, articles reach our flats and houses that we do not always know exactly what they are made of. Mainly plastics or other synthetic building materials ensure that dangerous cocktails of toxic and carcinogenic substances are created in the event of a fire, and it is uncertain what influence they will have on our organism in the long term. Really uncertain? In any case, we are dealing with our worldwide problem of fire brigades. But we have another problem. Our habits, our behavior, and our comfort are ultimately killing us. We have always done it this way. I hear this sentence again and again. As long as we pose and show off in front of the camera with dirty helmets and smelly protective gear, it will be difficult to bring about a change in thinking. We have to change that. Only through prevention and personal responsibility can we change something ourselves. Even appropriate training, consistent education, and further improved equipment minimize the risk of contracting occupational cancer. Now, some examples for the implementation of concepts. In Germany, it was like this for years. And it's still like this to some extent. But things are getting better, and many fire brigades are already implementing their own concepts. However, there is still a lot of work to do and at the decision-making level. Because appropriate training, consistent education, and further improved equipment always leave a residual risk of contracting occupational cancer. There is no such thing as 100% protection. Therefore, the logical consequence for the missing 10 persons is recognition of selected cancer as occupational diseases for firefighters, or alternatively, creation of a legal basis for compensation. Operational tactics, standards, and operational hygiene start with each individual and with every operational situation, no matter how small. So we have to change this. In this context, stay clean and healthy. Thank you very much for your attention.